Alright, so it's very early in the morning, and I do kind of look like a craggy old man when I first wake up. So that's what you're seeing right now, is craggy old man face. But that's what we got, so that's what we're going to work with. Excuse me. This is what we look like before we shower. Anyway, several years ago, when I lived on Cape Cod, I didn't really have my own idea of how to paint. I didn't have, as they say, my own voice. I painted lighthouses, I did pet portraits, I did sand dunes, I painted people's homes, did portraits of their homes. I really didn't have my own direction. I painted what I could, and I felt like I was just lucky enough to paint. But I didn't have my own style yet. Something I formalized in my mind as my own style, my own ideas. And since then, as you've seen on videos, I've gone off in this little freakazoid psychedelic direction that is true. It comes directly from my heart, directly from my soul. It isn't something that has been fabricated or, you know, this is a decision I'm going to make. I'm going to paint this wild way. I go into almost a meditative state when I'm painting, and listening to NPR or audiobooks at the same time. I kind of go into a meditative state, and it just becomes the style of painting, the colors, the ideas. They just become. How it happened was I left Cape Cod and I moved to New Bedford, Massachusetts, and one of the first things I did when I got there was, after I got an apartment, I bought a roll of canvas and some paint. I went to Michael's, bought this huge roll of canvas and paint, and I had taken books out of the library, and I was trying to, I was trying to open myself up, as they say, of course. I was trying to open myself up to doing something other than lighthouses and pet portraits and predictable things. I was really trying to find my way in this thick forest of predictability and not knowing what to do. So I just unrolled this canvas on the floor of this little apartment and started painting. And what came out of that is a painting that is still unstretched. I'm going to cover this mess up. That is still unstretched. It's called Drowning Lily. Drowning Lily. And you can find it online if you go Beck Lane Drowning Lily, or go to my website, Beck Lane Artist. Advertisement? No. If you just Google it, Drowning Lily, or go to my website. Anyway, that opened up a whole new world. It led to paintings like, a painting about a Russian soldier, a solitary soldier, and I know the name, but it's very early, and my brain doesn't work. A solitary Russian soldier. It came to me monstries. It kept leading me down this path. Paintings like, and then my arms flew off, which is in New York, and then my arms flew off. I love that painting. Stay Out of the Pool. It just started this whole trajectory where I dug my way out of that thick forest of predictability and not knowing what to do, and clearing a path to where now I can move easily into and out of ideas and my own techniques. I found my own techniques. I found my purpose. Back when I was doing figure painting and portrait painting in lighthouses and sand dunes and all the predictable stuff, when I was painting, I was painting in a certain way, painting between lines, painting over lines, but not knowing why. And since then, I've been able to define it, define myself, define my artwork, and define what my work is, what the whole portfolio means, in essence. And it is about the act of painting. I talked about this in a previous video, but it is about the act of painting. It's not so much about the subject, the subject, the subject, the subject. It is also about the act of painting and my absolute love and adventure of painting. Just how joyful it makes me. Just ecstatic to have this wonderful gift given to me. There are nothing but predictable words in my language, but just to have this ability. So I've put aside the images that one would expect. You move to an area and this is what you paint. Lighthouses. In a city you paint street scenes at night in the rain. You paint horses if you live in the country. I put all that aside and I have found my own, the stuff that really makes me love painting. I found subjects that just, they're complex and they're interesting. And they provoke me and they make me passionate about work, about painting, about working. But the other day I decided to do an abstract, or last week I decided to do an abstract about colors and kind of scenes I see on my walks at night with Bugsy. Late at night, what do I see? I see a lot of confusion, I see a lot of light, I see a lot of color, but it's coming between these palm fronds. Now, I live here in Sarasota right now, and you know, there's a ton of people who paint palm trees. And people keep saying to me, why don't you paint palm trees? You could sell more work. I don't want to go back into that. I don't want to go back into painting kitsch just to sell kitsch, just to sell something. I want to sell, but I want to sell my work. I'm tired of the hoops. I can't go backwards to painting happy white children, you know, scenes of New York, scenes of Boston, you know, predictable things. But I kept looking at this one neighbor's house where the gardens, everything was a mesh, and in between there's light coming through the palm fronds in this really warm, romantic way. Not that I ever paint romance, but it's still, it found it compelling. So I started this. And last week it was an abstract, or the other day it was an abstract of these weird shapes, which you can see underneath coming through. Just these weird shapes. It was just something that started coming out, following the lines of my black gesso. But I didn't want to leave it like that. So I put over the top, I started going over the top with a transparent earth red and Payne's gray and then a cerulean blue lines. And I didn't have my glasses on, so I couldn't really see it. And I was painting and painting and painting and putting on all these little lines and making textures. And I was very pleased with myself when I got done. Binge watching Fear of the Walking Dead and painting little lines. All right, you stay over there because I hate you now. So I had all these lines and I was like, I'm brilliant. This is going to be awesome. And I went to bed. And I got up the next morning and looked at it with my glasses on and went, holy crap, I have all these predictable lines, all these thick, thick, thick lines. And I thought, that is such an amateur move on your part. Really, really, that's the best you can do. So I went through and I started wiping down the lines. I didn't get to all of them. I left some of them because I also know that at some point I'm going to find my way. And this morning I did. I don't like to paint. Doing a landscape would be, oof, wow, could you be any more predictable than that? Painting palm trees, that's somebody else's bag, it's not mine. My thing is about the act of painting. So where was it? Somewhere in here, a little while ago, I decided to start going in between the lines, doing what I love, making each brush stroke their own piece of work, their own painting. And so somewhere in here, I think it was here, I started going between these horribly black lines, which I never use black, but these horribly black lines that just Oh, they're irritating me to no end so badly. I woke up super early this morning to go fix it, go find your way. So I'm going in between the lines. Instead of going over the dark lines with more paint and trying to correct them, I erase some of them and then I'm going between them. Because each brush stroke in here is going to help me to find my way out of predictability, this predictable spot I've set myself up with. Because I looked at it and I said, ooh, look, we're painting like we're in middle school again. So that's the thingamabob is, oh, here it is. We're going in between the lines and we're going over some of the dark lines and blurring them, but also hitting the lighter colors, the yellows, the oranges underneath, so that those will have that glow that I oftentimes talk about. When I'm talking about painting over aerosol, painting over layers of oil, that glow, so that when light goes in, the very top layers, which are not there yet, the very top layers of oil, it will go through those top layers, right down to the aerosol, and eventually, poof, that'll start to glow. And that will hopefully be the scene that I see at night when I walk by my neighbor's house and I stop with my dog and I have to look. They probably think I'm trying to peek in the windows or something, which I'm not. I could care less. I like their garden and I like the simplicity of their lighting, the warmth, the glow of the lighting. So that's what I'm going to try and get to. I'm going to try and get out of middle school predictable me and find the painting that is actually there. And I do talk about each brush stroke being their own painting, each brush stroke being important, because one move, one poor brush stroke, one lazy this will do, and the entire painting will fall apart. It will feel amateurish. It will feel something that I can't articulate. But I've got to drink my coffee, shower, get to work. Wanted to talk about my failings, but also how I find my way out. Because now I know how, now that I'm no longer painting lighthouses and painting things that I think people want, things that will sell easily, but I have no passion for. Things that make me want to paint because it's an adventure and it's exciting and we're given the gift of this rare ability. That's what I wanted to talk about. Okay, I'm smelly now and I got to get to work. We're having a storm and I get to ride on my scooter to work today. Hey, 90-mile-an-hour winds. Not really, something like that. Anyway, gotta go. Ciao.